I thought when I was a younger man that I had to like, give my partner firm slaps on the ass or whatever. And she was playing along thinking that I was doing because I was liking it. Neither of us were actually getting what we wanted. And where did I learn that from? It's from porn.
Oh man, you just opened up a new can of worms. Is that for a lot of men, porn has been our educator. Porn videos has been our educator on what sex and love is, when that's more often than not the case. And that has been unhealthy in terms of like the choking of women. Oh man, it's crazy.
And some of these things they do like I've had lots of partners that do like to be have pressure on their throat that can feel good sexually, but then I think a lot of guys can just go for it straight too far and maybe get a little bit too much,
Yeah, well, even on this topic, one thing to look at is porn is mostly viewed from the male's point of view. Everything is done to please the male. The female in the porn is there to please the male. And in a lot of cases, that's the way men go into their relationships sexually, is that they're the one to be pleased. And it's all about them. And it's not about their partner. And I've read multiple stories in these books and these discussion forums about their partners, the male partner's lack of caring about that woman or the other partner's needs and wants. Right?
Yeah, I've heard that over and over and over again from women that like, especially when they're younger, not the partners they end up with typically, but especially when they're younger, like how selfish men were in the bedroom.
Yeah, it was all about them getting off, right?
Yeah, them getting off, or them just being like a jackrabbit, just a jackhammer, going as fast as hard as possible. It's like, where'd you learn that, man?
Yeah.
Go slow, enjoy it. It doesn't last very long.
I know. Yeah, and that's the other thing too, is that like, porns are always, not always, but the most are over 15 minutes. And it's like, realistically, how long is actually love with a partner, gonna be? And, like you said, it can be fairly quick as long as it's intimate, as long as it's deep. That's the most important thing, not like how long can you last. And that gets into the whole male size of their dicks and how long you can go for. And they're all the pills that are promoted on these porn sites. Oh man.
It doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters. Yeah. But porn definitely makes you think that it does.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to dance around it. I'm lucky because I'm well equipped. Like I got blessed. I got blessed. I'm not, and I don't, but even I am watching porn feeling insecure about myself, like
I've got a story. With one partner, it was our first sexual experience and she's just like, "Oh, take me from behind." And I'm like, "Oh no, I'm not big enough to do that." And we ended up doing it. And she's just like, afterwards, she's like, "I don't know where you get that comment and belief from that you're not big enough. Like, of course you're big enough." But over years and years of watching porn and seeing the average size of a male's versus the actual average size of Joe Blow, you just have this idea in your head and you run with it and you believe that's true, right? Instead, that's actually not the case.
Yeah, all these little subconscious ways it affects you, right? Like even thinking about that now, that's the first time I thought about that. That growing up playing hockey, I've seen hundreds of dicks, right? I was always average or above average, and probably in the above average category. And guys used to tease me about it sometimes. And yet still, I wouldn't say I feel insecure, but I feel like I don't have enough there because porn models that, you got to have some fucking Amazonian snake of some kind, some big.
Just even the build of a man, right? Like you see porn and some of the stuff that I was watching, a lot of the guys were buff and strong, and don't even get me started on the hairless stuff. You were saying earlier, you got a lot of body hair. Like the shaving of your chest and the shaving of your pubes, like you got to be totally like clean. And even the female porn stars, same thing. And it's like, that's so unnatural. Like are we going to achieve this level just because it's what we've seen in porn? And that's the only reason?
People don't actually care for the most part. I mean, of course, different people like different things, right? But my partner actually really, there's like a healthy subset of women that really like furry men.
Yeah, I know. Same. I have that experience too.
Yeah, and I make the joke that like patchy. There's like women that love beards. There's women that love chest hair. There's women that love arm hair. I don't know if there's women that love really patchy, thick back hair. So I work on that. But aside from that,
when are they going to see that? Are they taking you from behind?
yeah, exactly. No, it's that first hug with the shirt off. They wrap their hands around and it's like, oh, Pat,
sure,
weird. Pat,
sure.
Is he still wearing a patchy sweater vest? That's weird.
Yeah, sure.
That was a good one. I like that.
I know. I have that same issue. I've got like angel wings on the back of my. I don't get into that, but yeah, it was interesting to hear my last partner talk about how much she enjoyed chest hair and like, oh, okay, that's great. I have to just maintain this. I don't have to bucket clean like I've seen in porn. And yeah, I even cackle and laugh at the Manscaped company there. They've got like these beautiful models, like trim your balls. Like they come up with some stat, like 95% of women want, nicely trimmed. I understand that, but like the actual like full on, like, no. I don't think that's, again, just this belief that has been put into our head by watching these films where the actors and actresses are just completely, it's a fantasy, sure, but at the same time, it's hard for it not to drill into your brain that that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, most of my life I felt insecure about that, about how hairy I am, and I obviously manscaped just because, similar to a woman, if she's going to be putting her mouth on it, then it's respectable to take care of myself. But yeah, I used to I don't know. I used to stress about that. And now at this age, what am I now? 37. It's like, I now I realize that it's actually a blessing because it's a symbol of my masculinity kind of thing. And I like being a man, and usually a lot of body hair means high testosterone, and, I'm a passionate, full-blooded male, so
yeah, that's helpful.
I'll take it. But, I can't help but think that part of that, where I got that from, the insecurity was porn and just, TV and media in general growing up.
Yeah. It's just no different than it's reprogramming these thought patterns that you've been unfortunately taught or developed at an early age, and understanding that that's not healthy and that wasn't the best way to look at and view things, right?
Yeah. You also mentioned timing, like to the time in sex and how it's not actually as long as in pornos or whatever. I've seen a lot of guys in our men's groups talk about the opposite issue where because they've jerked off to porn so much, and they're like, by the way, I'm trying not to do any of the hand movements while we like have these conversations, just to not be vulgar. But they how
do you do it?
yeah, exactly. Like this, elbow up, backhanded.
What's your technique?
Backhanded elbow up. Man, I don't do it to myself. That's what friends are for, do the old Dutch rudder. Just move their arm so that it's not it's not actually sexual. It's just friend helping a friend out. No, but seriously, a lot of guys complain about how they can't last as long as they'd like to, and they realize over time that's partly because they're getting themselves off really quickly. Like, yes, the average sex will last for 6 minutes, but the actual sexual experience with a partner can often be a half an hour, and it can start slowly and just little touches and stuff. And so I've seen a lot of guys struggle with that with regards to porn. Is it reinforces the coming too quickly thing, which I haven't had an issue with. I've had the opposite issue of not being able to come sometimes, but I know for a lot of men that's an issue.
Yeah, that's kind of on the topic of the death grip, right? The death grip that you can develop getting yourself off. If you've been doing it for so long a certain way, then when your partner gets in, they're going to come in with their technique, and it's going to be a struggle too, right?
Yeah.
So that's why there's this notion in the Reboot Nation, this Gabe guy, 90 days, no porn, no masturbation at all, because you've got sex is very sensual, and you lose that lack of sense when you're getting yourself off to a screen, right? So it's trying to reconnect with the body again and reconnect with the touch. And when you've been touching yourself a certain way for so long, and then someone else comes in, it's going to be very difficult to get adjusted to that. So there are going to be obviously instances, what you're talking about, where men are going to struggle to not be able to get off. Mm-hmm. Right.
Or the opposite.
The knee jerk one is the guy gets off too soon and he's embarrassed by that. Therefore he holds his orgasm in the next time or, times afterwards. And that's not healthy either.
Yeah.
And I had that happen once in a past relationship years ago. I'd never experienced that. I was like, oh, and she laughed it off. And I was just like, actually, that was kind of great, because to me, that meant that I was like super amped up and I wanted to give her, my seed essentially. And it was, wow, okay, that's great. I don't mind that, versus the opposite, which is like, this isn't working, which I just struggled with, that I can't get off. And this is just turning into, an anticlimactic. It's not going to end. And I'm not going to get that feeling. Don't get me wrong. The feelings are good, but still we're going after that climax to make ourselves feel really good, and mentally and physically.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of guys actually have troubles with it. Again, what you said before about in public, people put on a good show. But if I've learned anything from running men's groups over the last 10 years, is that people's home lives are quite messy, and there's a lot of dysfunction there. And it's the families, it's the rare families that don't have this kind of dysfunction, and that has to apply to sex life because it's such an intimate thing. So I would imagine that so many people struggle with the ejaculation thing.
Well, just on that topic alone of, you've run men's groups for years, I've just started facilitating, but just hearing men actually talk about their shit, it's very rare. Right? The men, a lot of them are coming into the group because they haven't had these conversations with other men in their life, right? This goes back to the previous podcast we did with a lot of the guys that I was hanging around with. I would never bring this up with them.
No, never.
And even if I did, it was brushed aside, whether it was uncomfortable from the other side or not. But it was not discussed at these lengths. Like, I think I have an issue with this. Instead, it was more talking about, what type of porn do you watch, or what type of porn star are you interested in, like that type of thing.
Or just a joke like I made earlier about the Bang Bus or whatever, these sort of niche novelty porn sites that are like funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the thing with men's group, is that this stuff can come out. And like you say, what's going on behind the scenes, we don't know. Well, when we get into men's group, we do know, because men are spilling it. And that's one part of it. And that's a huge part of it, is just getting this out, instead of bottling it in and having this toxic shame and embarrassment about this issue, to then start the healing process, which is to then forgive yourself and to not turn to this, and repair your neural pathways and develop healthier habits around your discomfort